10 years ago, a little-known Japanese developer made an outsized mark with the release of Ico for the PlayStation 2. A few years later, the studio turned more heads with another one-of-a-kind experience in Shadow of the Colossus. Now the pair is remastered with high-definition visuals in a collection for the PlayStation 3. Have these classics aged gracefully? The hallmark of Team Ico is its minimalist approach, which eschews story elements that get in the way of an immersive experience. Both Shadow of the Colossus and Ico tell stirring tales mostly through the use of visual cues, foregoing lengthy cutscenes with extensive bouts of dialogue. Ico's plot focuses on the bond formed between two young people who meet under dire circumstances that test the strength of their unspoken friendship. Shadow of the Colossus is a tale of love and the lengths one man will go to bring his beloved back from the dead, though the price he must pay is steep. You're thrown into each world with very little context and then set loose to explore their mysteries. Both games are more concerned with building atmosphere and promoting immersion than presenting a clear narrative, and part of what makes them so fulfilling is the constant sense of discovery and wonder you feel with each passing moment. It's a form of storytelling rarely seen in games these days, and it achieves an effect almost impossible to duplicate through traditional game narratives. Unlike many of the other HD collections recently issued, Shadow of the Colossus and Ico are two vastly different games. Ico is more of an adventure game where you guide your partner through a giant labyrinth filled with puzzles and other perils. It's simple in practice, but having to account for your partner at all times gives the trek a unique feel. The castle setting is enormous, divided into numerous rooms, and you'll frequently backtrack as you unlock new paths. You're given little more than subtle visual cues as how you're supposed to proceed, and overcoming challenging puzzles or divining hidden paths feels immensely rewarding. Because it's so easy to get consumed by the experience and lose track of time, Ico can frustrate you with its limited save options. You can go for long stretches without encountering a save point, and death means reverting back to your previous save data. Since there are virtually no checkpoints in place, you quickly learn to look before you leap. It's a breed of challenge that's frankly welcome in an age when quick saves and checkpoints are so pervasive. Shadow of the Colossus carries similar consequences for failure, but it's more forgiving when it comes to dying. Rather, the game puts your patience to the test. Taking down any one of the 16 massive colossi is a lengthy endeavor. Even locating one of the behemoths is a challenge. You're placed into a massive, seamlessly connected environment that you're free to explore with the aid of your sword to guide your way. In the early goings, it's a quick and easy hike to your next battle, but eventually the path forward isn't so clearly demarcated. It's only the first part of an intricate puzzle that's involved in tackling each beast. Actually bringing down the colossi is another story. These are some of the most massive creatures to set foot in a digital world, and it's not uncommon to feel a sense of overwhelming intimidation when you encounter them. Figuring out how to get onto each of these monstrosities, let alone inflicting damage to their vital points, is yet another puzzle unto itself. It's a raw, primal fight for survival, and often you'll have to dig deep to overcome failed attempts to slay these Earthshakers. The battles can easily last upwards of an hour. Despite how well Ico and Shadow of the Colossus have held up throughout the years, their controls are showing a few cracks in their foundations. There's a lot of platforming in Ico, and the game does you no favors with its floaty jump mechanics and loose handling. This is compounded by the oddball camera work, turning what should be routine actions into lessons in patience. The creator's decision to not retune the controls is regrettable. It's simply too difficult to execute what you mean to at times. Ico's combat, meanwhile, is bare bones and rarely that interesting. The action is at its best when enemies unexpectedly appear and make off with your companion, creating a sense of panic. Where Ico focuses on exploration and puzzles, Shadow of the Colossus relies more heavily on combat sequences. The combat is also very simple, but it's the stress you're put under while trying to get a chance to attack that draws you in. Struggling to scale each Colossus is in itself a tense endeavor, giving you a serious adrenaline rush. However, the same control issues that hold Ico back are present in Shadow of the Colossus, though to a much lesser extent. Judging jumps with awkward camera angles is difficult, and you'll probably end up tearing out a few hairs by the game's end. Needless to say, both games come with a bit of a learning curve. Team Ico could have polished up the controls for tighter handling, but instead, the games were made to suffer in the name of preserving the original experience. art direction of both Ico and Shadow of the Colossus were regarded as high points for their time. While neither is technically impressive when compared to modern achievements, the art direction still makes it easy to become fully immersed in these fictional worlds. The only real blemish is the way Shadow of the Colossus handles its massive draw distance, which occasionally breaks the illusion. Each game's sound design has lost some of its impact, but their soundtracks are still some of the best ever recorded, comprised of tunes that effectively set the tone for moments you'll never forget. It's difficult to avoid feeling nostalgia after playing Ico and Shadow of the Colossus again after all these years. And while the core of each experience withstands the test of time, the control issues that were easy to overlook the first time around simply can't be ignored today. Still, if you've never played these classics, you owe it to yourself to experience them as part of this package, which renders their worlds in all the glory they deserve.